We ready? Good afternoon. The June 23rd, 2022 special meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. The Board of Estimates continues to meet hybrid format. For those here live, please ensure that you silence any electronic devices, phones. Likewise, for those attending virtually, please keep yourself on mute until you've been recognized by the chair. For those watching at home and those... Good afternoon. The June 23rd, 2022 special meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. The Board of Estimates continues to meet hybrid format. For those here live, please ensure that you silence any electronic devices, phones. Likewise, for those attending virtually, please keep yourself on mute until you've been recognized by the chair. For those watching at home and those... Good afternoon. The June 23rd, 2022 special meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. The Board of Estimates continues to meet hybrid format. For those here live, please ensure that you silence any electronic devices.
On TV up too.
All right.
All right, we should be all right now.
Microphone's back on.
That's my fault, Matt. I'm sorry. We were watching the council meeting for a while.
When something goes wrong, it's always your fault.
It's always my fault. I'm here to apologize.
After we hear from, we're going to have Councilman Costello come out and talk about the process. After we hear from Chairman Costello, we will adopt and certify the real and personal property tax rates for fiscal year 2023. Chairman Costello, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Comptroller, honorable members of the Board of Estimates. Very pleased to be before you today after about 83 and a half hours of committee hearings deliberating the fiscal year 2023 budget process. First, Mr. President, as well as Vice President Middleton and Vice Chair Stokes, I want to thank you and all of our colleagues for your leadership throughout this process, and specifically, Mr. President, want to thank your Chief of Staff, Lawrence Anderson, and Matt Stegman, who are nothing short of phenomenal during this process. Mr. Mayor, I want to specifically thank Michael Huber and the Government Relations team for an excellent effort to help us get this budget passed. We would not have been able to do it without them. I also want to point out how grateful I am to City Administrator Chris Shorter for the amount of time that he spent in chambers during this process, certainly reflective of his efforts to help reform city government, and we are all very deeply appreciative of that, and want to thank Bob Seneme, our budget director, who has been phenomenal and responsive throughout this process, and finally all of the agency heads and personnel who participated. We passed all three ordinances on second reader, including the ordinance of estimates with two cuts, which Budget Director Seneme is going to discuss shortly. We passed the tax rate as is, which he will also discuss. And I am very pleased to say that the vote was unanimous based on a negotiated agreement that I believe meets the needs of all 15 of our colleagues on the city, makes progress in city government, and includes making sure that we are funding projects and initiatives that are important to all 15 council members in each council district and throughout every corner of Baltimore City. So with that, again, I want to thank this board for its favorable consideration. Mr.
Thank you, Chairman Costello. Again, you and your committee have done an amazing job. The council has done an amazing job sitting through city government and watching and participating in these. I think that this was one of the most substantive council hearings. Like you said, close to 100 hours, but really thought-provoking questions. Really can tell that our colleagues came really well prepared, even some of the new members. So excited about continuing a very productive and efficient process and transparent process to show what good government looks like and in working with the administration. So thank you for being the quarterback on the council for that. Madam Vice President, thank you the same, as well as Vice Chair of the committee, Chairman Robert Stokes. With that, I'm going at this time, does Bob Seneme, do you have anything to add to the discussion? If you could come up and address the board.
Hi, good afternoon. So at this point in the process, the charter requires finance to come back and certify the tax rate at the sufficient level to raise the amount needed to cover the appropriations in the ordinance. Since there was a reduction of $696,000, the total general fund appropriation now is $2,146,704,000. We had introduced a tax rate of 2.248. We would urge the council to pass that rate as is. What we are reporting to the board today is that the rate that's sufficient to raise that revenue is actually 2.247, which is a tenth of a penny of the tax rate. Such a minor difference that we would encourage the council to pass the tax rate as it was proposed at 2.248. And that is all from us.
Thank you, Director Sinemi. Our next item for business to consider and adopt is personal and real property tax. Before we do that, we just heard from Bob Sinemi from the Bureau of Budget Management and Research. At this point, are there any additional questions or concerns from members of the board for Chairman Costello or Director Sinemi? Seeing no further questions, at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So move. Second.
It's been moved and probably seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And all those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. As there's no new business before this board, we will adjourn our next regular meeting.
I want to say something.
Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, June 29th at 9 a.m. Before we close out officially, the mayor would like to have the floor. Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to start off by thanking you, Mr. President, Madam Vice President, Chairman Costello, and the entire council for their support of this budget, this fiscal year's budget, but also for your diligence in working with all the members of my administration, everybody on the team that the councilman already mentioned, for us coming to an agreement on this budget. I think it's important for us to note that this budget includes a groundbreaking $57 million increase to our school system to support the Blueprint for Maryland future. Also funds the city's Water for All billing discount program, and obviously the services that we need to push the city forward. That's a big win for Baltimore, allows us to continue to move forward coming out of the pandemic, and it contains the essential services that we all need and innovations that we know will make Baltimore a better place. So thank you again.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, are there any other closing remarks from other members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Baltimore, we absolutely love you.